Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Little Talks with Big Nikki. I'm your host Big Nikki, and on this week's episode we're going to be talking about the switch up, how people in your life just change up on you out of nowhere, how you cope with that, what your interactions with them might be like afterward, and all the fun stuff that goes along with people just switching up on you. So stick around if you want to hear about that. Roll intro.
Hey, this is Little Talk with Big Nikki.
Hello everyone and welcome back for another episode of the podcast. So glad you decided to tune in and listen today. If you are watching this on YouTube, you will probably notice, where are you, Nicole? I am at my new apartment. As I mentioned in the last episode I did before I did the Bill Squire show, I was in the process of moving, which is why backgrounds are bare. And the setup might not stay exactly the same. So trying to figure out where I want my mic, the camera, the light, all these pieces and parts. So bear with me how it looks, but if you're not watching, you don't have to worry about any of that. But yeah, so we're gonna be making some improvements to the background and the set here. I call it a set, it's literally my bedroom, but it's fine. Loving the new place, so bearing with the fact that we don't have 3 bedrooms, we just have 2. Just gotta deal with some things like that sometimes. Don't get everything you want, gotta compromise, but it's okay. We're still doing good, and got all that we need. Got way more space than we had, which is the biggest thing. So I am not going to complain, guys. Not going to complain. So yeah, with that being said, let's get just into the episode today, talking about people switching up on you. And this topic kind of came to me. I'm kind of glad I had the last 2 weeks or so to kind of brew and steep like a good cup of tea on this topic and kind of think about some things, because not only did I have a couple situations recently, like within the past weeks and months, happened to me where people in my life just kind of switched up on me, and I was like, okay, I see you, don't know what that's about, but you do you and I'll just do me. But it's really not that simple at the end of the day. So that's what we're going to talk about. And then, I just also, started to notice that this was happening to other people too. People in my life that I am friends with and such. I just started to notice that they were experiencing this too with people in their life who were their friends. And I was like, what is it with people switching up on you? So I just was like, guys, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about this, because this is a thing that if you haven't gone through it yet, you will. And if you have gone through it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I think the biggest thing to realize is that people are going to change up on you. It is literally a fact of life. It is definitely going to happen. Time and again has shown me that people in your life will change up on you. That doesn't mean everyone. That doesn't mean that what the change up is necessarily devastating to the relationship and you can't come back from it, but people are going to change up on you. And usually I preference in an episode, when I talk about relationships, if I'm talking more about friendships or romantic relationships, in this episode, I'm definitely more referring to friendships. I'm not really talking about romantic relationships. I feel like that's a whole nother thing that I would want to talk to a married person about. We're not really getting into that part of things, but friendships. Friendships, for sure, people switch up on you. And first of all, you need to recognize that it is definitely going to happen. And you don't know with who. That's the thing. I'm not telling you to screen everybody that you let into your life and become friends with and start hardcore questioning them. Are you gonna cop an attitude with me in 6 months, or nah, or are we gonna be good? You don't know. They probably don't even know. And I didn't even have this kind of jotted down as a note to touch on, but it just came to me that we need to just say for the general viewing audience that I'm going to venture a statistical number, which is not scientifically proven, nor am I saying is it accurate, but I'm going to say about 95% of the time that people switch up on you and cop an attitude with you, and you're kind of just like, whoa, that came out of left field, like where is that coming from? It has nothing to do with you. It has absolutely nothing to do with you and everything to do with them and things that they're going through in their life, which makes it even more difficult when you're someone like me who sometimes cares like a little too much about people, or if you're a person who really likes to help other people, this can become very difficult in terms of separating, oh, they hurt me, and they said these things to me, but is it really about me, or should I still help them because they're going through a rough patch? Because you want to be empathetic and sympathetic to their situation, and especially if they were someone that you had a friendship with, you want to be there for them. But also this gets into it is okay to be hurt, to be mad, to be upset, to be sad, to be confused. It is okay for you to feel all those things, because just because someone is going through something, it does not justify them wrongly treating you or switching up on you in a negative way. People, I believe, especially, when, like, I'm 22, I'm officially an adult by law. I think that if you are an adult, you need to handle your crap in a adult way that allows for communication to be had. Maybe if distance needs to be had for some reason, or if there's a disagreement, for that to be talked through, not just being offended by something and then not saying anything about it. That to me is very childish and immature, but that's how some people handle things, and you know what? Okay. But I'm just saying that if someone switched up on you, I just want you to know, as a person who has had that happen to them now a couple of times, 95% it is probably not you. And if you really dug to the root of whatever is going on with them that made them treat you that way, it's probably things going on with them. And I also think that not only is it okay for you to feel and express the emotions that you have, because nobody wants to be disrespected. Nobody wants to be treated negatively when all you've done for the other person is polar opposite. You've just treated them with positivity and kindness and care and compassion, and then they want to literally just flip the table over and treat you total opposite. Like, nobody wants to be treated like that. No one deserves to be treated like that. So I'm kind of the mindset where, you know what, I can have sympathy and empathy for you if something is going on in your life, but you talking to me a certain way, or something happening between us that is due to nothing that I did, I don't really need that in my life. And that's the thing, is like, you can go where you are much more appreciated and much more valued. I think that's what life has shown me in a very short amount of time, where anytime there's like a situation where someone is maybe like, I don't want to say like being mean to you, because we're not like in the third grade, but anytime where someone is degrading you, or not really like appreciating you or valuing you as like a friend, as a person, you don't need that. And time and again, I've been shown that for every person that treats you like that, there's probably at least 2 other people in your life who do value and appreciate you. So I guess what I'm saying is, why waste your time and energy on people who don't build you up, don't hype you up, don't appreciate what you bring to the table, when there's plenty of other people that you already know that are more than willing and are enthusiastic about hyping you up and appreciating and valuing your friendship and what you do for them. So it's like people will switch up on you, but you can't get caught up. Don't get caught up, because and there again, it's like, it's hurtful. It's very hurtful. And I'm especially one of those people where it's like, I will admit when I've done something wrong, but when I know I haven't done anything wrong and I get treated or talked to like I have, I do not appreciate that. And that for me is like an instant, like, my walls are now up and I'm done. Like, I'm basically done with you. Because I don't have energy for that, and I don't need that negative energy in my life affecting what I'm trying to do. I'm just out here trying to, do my stuff and be a decent person. And if you're not gonna reciprocate that to me, then okay, that's the end of that. But so see, this gets into, you can be hurt, you can be upset, the other person might be hurt and upset, and like, you might want to have empathy for them, but that goes back to, I can have empathy for hurt and pain and struggle in their life if they are willing to just be an adult and communicate that with me. If you don't communicate that with me, and all you do communicate with me is lashing out and saying things that aren't very friendly, then like I have way less empathy for you, because how am I even supposed to know if you don't let me in? And that's the thing, if you're really friends with someone, they should be letting you in to what is going on. And I think a lot of times people's coping mechanism, unfortunately, is the closer you are to them, the more they will shut you out, and the faster they will shut you out. And I think what sometimes people do, like I said, 95% of the time, it's not actually you, that they're just taking it out on you. I think sometimes, and you might say, like, why me? Like, we have other friends, this person has other people in their life, like, why aren't they treating this person that way? Why are they treating me that way? And I think sometimes if you were to really know what was going on 100% and examine things, it would be because something about you triggers pain in that person. Whatever that person is struggling through, that, again, they're not communicating with you, I bet you that there's something about you or about your life that when they see or interact with it, it just triggers them. It just opens up a wound. It just reminds them of something, of someone, and it's easier to turn you away, to they're again lash out and take it out on you. They are now reflecting their insecurities, their failures, their pains onto you. And it's easier to do that and to try to get you to leave their life because they can't run away from themselves. Am I wrong? This is getting deep, y'all, but am I wrong? I mean, leave it in the comments. Let me know. Am I wrong? I don't think I am. This is what people do. I'm sure I've done it. And that's the thing, is like, when you're in it, you probably don't really realize what you're doing, but you're just trying to cope. So you are now reflecting these negative things onto the people closest to you, and then you're trying to get them to leave your life because you can't leave yourself. You can't run away from your own stuff, so you're trying to push it off onto somebody else and hoping that by them kind of getting out of your hair and out of your life that you can move on. And it might work temporarily, but that's definitely not a permanent solution. But what I wanted to say was, when you break it down like that, you're like, dang, like, this person is going through some stuff. Like, I feel so sorry for them. Yes, you can feel like that, but like I said before, you are also very much allowed to feel sad and hurt and upset that somebody treated you like this, especially when you did nothing to deserve it, was not talked about to you, did not see it coming, like I said, basically out of left field. But what it's not okay to do, and I know that this can be really hard, especially if you're like me and you're kind of like a petty person, and you gotta fight that pettiness off every time something like this happens. But it is not okay to lash out, to spread lies, to spread rumors, or demean the person's character beyond stating what literally happened. Now, here's the thing. I am one for being an open book. I am one for telling it like it is. I have no reason to lie. I have no reason to say anything that is not true, because at the end of the day, I have to be able to lay my head on my pillow at night and go to sleep, and that means knowing that I treated people how they should be treated. Do I mess up sometimes? Obviously, we all do. Am I a perfect person? No, that's not what I'm saying. But I know that I treat people with basic human decency at least 99% of the time. So when I am being an open book and somebody asks me what's going on, or somebody asks me what happened, or I need to tell people close to me what happened because I am upset or whatever, what you hear is literally the story. I don't have mental energy to try to keep a lie up. I have no reason to demean this person's character, because just because they treated me like that in this instance doesn't make them a bad person. They're probably going through some stuff and they are hurting and they're taking it out on you, and you're just a punching bag at this point. But just to reiterate, it is not ever okay to demean character. And I will say, even if your character is demeaned, even if that person wants to go around and tell people things that aren't true, and oh, this happened this way, but it really didn't, you know what? Just let them do it, because there's no stopping them. And I just believe that, not that I'm like a big like karma, believer, but I believe that things will kind of take care of themselves, and the truth will unfold and be told one day anyway. So just let people talk their talk, and you just sometimes silence rises above noise. So just sometimes it's better not to say anything. It's not really worth it to try to come back with certain things. But even if they try to demean your character, even if they are saying untruthful things about you, do not stoop to that level. If you're listening to this, I'm here to tell you that you are better than that. Do you deserve to be treated like that? No. Do you deserve to be talked about like that? Absolutely not. Does it make you worry about what people will think of you? And we talked about reputations a few weeks ago on the podcast. Listen to that episode if you haven't. And it's like, yeah, makes you worry for your reputation sometimes too. But there again, I say at the end of the day, the truth will set you free, and you know what you did and didn't do. So as long as you can lay your head down at night with a clean conscience, then I think that is what you owe yourself. You don't owe anyone else anything. You owe yourself some peace. So I would say for mental peace, that's what you gotta do. And it's hard and it's not easy, and you want to be like, well, let me be combative, but it's just not worth it. That is then also getting into, you don't owe it to anyone to explain your strained relationships, but you can do so if it helps you heal. So I want to bring up this point because I was watching the Bill Squire show, as you guys know, just 2 weeks ago now, I was on there, and as a guest. And then this past week's episode, I believe it's episode 10, but don't quote me on that. He had another iHeart employee, a friend of ours, on the show as a guest, and they were talking about how people don't understand that when you do what we do, when, Bill's on, WMMS, on the Alan Cox Show, which is like a talk show. And then this guy from iHeart has a podcast. I obviously have a podcast. So it's like people don't understand that when your life or part of your life revolves around you talking about your life, how difficult and what a fine line it is between sharing and protecting. And that's not only protecting yourself, but that's also protecting other people in the situation. So like this, I've told you guys before, I will always try to protect people because I am not trying to, again, demean anyone's character or why did I say it like that? That was so weird. Demean anyone's character. There we go. Said it so proper. Scared myself a little bit. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to call people out. I'm not trying to be like, yo, don't ever talk to this person because they're crazy. No. So I try to keep confidential. I try to keep this stuff on lock, low key. Literally only if you talk to me on a daily to weekly basis are you going to know who these said people are. I try to do that very much so because this podcast is to talk about life and talk about life experience and kind of dealing with these things, and just to let you guys who are listening know that oh, this happened to you, this happens to me too. You're not alone. This is not to call people out and to be shady and to be petty. So what Bill and his guests were talking about was just basically the fact of you could be dealing with such a rough thing and you still have to come on and you still have to smile and talk and bring their podcasts and talk show too, they're mostly funny, humorous, so you have to in their case bring comedy and light to things, but you're dealing with your own personal lack for a better term sometimes hell, and sometimes you can't say that, at least yet. Sometimes you don't want to be vulnerable, again, to protect yourself and other people. So this gets into people would ask me questions about this one particular situation, and it's again, I'm an open book, so do I owe it to anyone to explain? No, I really don't. But also at the same time, like I said before, when you have nothing to hide and you know what's up and you know what things are, you don't have to tell people in a way that demeans the other person's character. But also I am an advocate for not being afraid to just tell it like it is. If someone wronged you, someone wronged you. And there's no really getting around that when you recount the story to them. Don't sugarcoat things. I'm a strong believer of that. Don't sugarcoat, because this is what happened. There again, you don't have to be oh, well, now I hate them. You don't have to. What's the word I'm looking for, guys? You don't have to heighten the feelings and the emotions of what you're feeling necessarily behind the story, but just tell it like it is. But again, you are allowed to be upset, and I think if these people that you're explaining this to are your friends, then you should be safe to come to them and express why you're upset and why you're hurt, and again, without having to take it out necessarily on the other person, but again, just keeping it real, that this is how it went and it sucks, and that's what happened. But yeah, I just I love the conversation. Bill and the guest that was on his podcast, they did a lot better job talking through it than of course I am. They had a really good dialogue about it, but yeah, basically us, I share my life, basically, that is this podcast. So sometimes I have to take a little bit of time and actually piece and plan together how I am going to do that without, again, calling anybody out or, offending anybody. I try to do my due diligence. Wow, that's a hard sentence. Do my due diligence to protect people's identities, and it sounds like a crime show, but I really do. And but to still make sure that the story and the message gets across, and that we can still have our chats, and y'all understand like where I'm coming from without having to name blast anybody. But yeah. It's kind of funny though when you think about it. It's like I hold a lot of power in this position. Like I could just name drop you like that, and like, but I won't. But it's like a responsibility. Like you gotta think about that. I have people reaching out to me quite often now saying like, how do I start like a podcast? Like I love what you're doing with yours. Like how do I get this going? Because it is like such like a novelty like thing that like nobody knows unless you do it. And like I had to trial and error and figure things out. And luckily I met some people along the way who knew certain aspects of things better than me. But but I, for anyone thinking like, oh, I want to start a podcast, depending on what you're going to be talking about, I just want you to understand the responsibility that comes with that, of sometimes the things you need to talk about and sometimes the things that you shouldn't be saying. Because you have the power to put this out on many platforms and the potential of many people to hear it. And, you want to handle that responsibility wisely. That's like my little tidbit of advice when it comes to that. So sorry I got off on that like little side tangent, but I just thought that it was kind of like relevant to what I was discussing about people switching up on you. But getting back a little bit more to that, I wanted to elaborate on a point also of, like I said before, I was like, when you like do something like that to me, like I'm done. Like my walls are up. I don't trust you. If you don't value and appreciate me and you're gonna talk to me in a certain way or treat me in a certain way, like I don't need you in my life. Like I'm just like that though. Like I say you should never have to beg someone to like stay in your life. And I think sometimes, I'm not saying this happened in any of like the situations that I'm talking about or thinking of, but I think sometimes like people want to do it as like a power trip. They want to be like, how much can I get out of this person? If I threaten them to like walk out of their life or like take away like our relationship as it stands right now. Like if I threaten that, what is this person willing to do for me in order to keep like this relationship? And to me, that's very sad, but I think that it happens more than we think it does. And I bet half the time when you're in it, like you can't even see it. But I think it's like a power pull. So my statement to that is I don't think you should ever beg someone to stay in your life who does not want to be in it. If you don't want to be a part of my life, if you don't value me as a person, as a friend, whatever our relationship is, if you don't value me or appreciate me in that sense, then I can go because I have other people who do. And I don't need you and I don't need your negativity. Now, that's me having a little more of a, I don't know what the word is for that. Me having like a little more of like a backbone, I guess is the way to say it. Like I don't really take a lot of people's crap. Thanks, Mama. Got that from her. She's like, don't take people's crap. Yes, Ma. I hear you. But for people who maybe struggle more like with, like their identity being in like what other people think about them, like, or they just are someone who is just very helpful, those people, they might be a little more prone to want to try to be like, oh no, like, oh okay, like this made you upset, so like, okay, no, I can do this, or I can like not say this, and if that means like we're good, then I'll just, and they like, there's like a difference between like compromise and like giving yourself up to the other person. And again, that's where it becomes like a power trip, because now they're literally holding like all of the plays and all of the puppet strings in their hand, and you're basically the puppet, and they just have full control over you, because you're so afraid of what life might be like without them in it, or if you think like you're not. This might be more into like relationship, but even like job wise, or if like you think like, oh, I'm not like good enough at what I do to like, you know, go somewhere else, so like I'm gonna like, you know, my boss wants me to do like this and this, and like internally you're like, this is insane that he's like, he or she, okay, I'm not trying to like gender things, he or she is, you know, asking me to do X, Y, and Z, and it's like I shouldn't even have to be doing this, but it's like I'm not good enough at what I do to go to, you know, get another job. And, you know, it's like, it becomes like this whole like power trip, and it's just like, no, like you are better than you give yourself credit for. And it's almost like a form of bullying. Like, don't let people, just because they're in like a position of authority or power over you, like bully you into almost like submitting to them and submitting to what they want you to do. It's just like, you don't need that. You don't need that in your life, because there's plenty of people who will welcome you with open arms and, again, appreciate and value you for being you and doing what you do best. So don't, also, this is just my advice and how I think. You don't have to agree with everything I'm saying, but I don't think that you should be naive and give like multiple chances. I kind of, you know, like I said, like if you burn me, I'm done. Like you burn the bridge, it's pretty much burnt. There's few situations where I feel like a conversation or communication can recuperate those things, but it's pretty much like, if you screw me, then I'm done with you. Like if you screw me over, like that's where I'm done, because I don't have, again, time or energy in my life to deal with that. But I want to make this distinction of, you can forgive somebody, so like you can experience all that initial like hurt and like being mad and upset at that person, but you can, you know, come around to forgive them and still keep them distant. I need, especially all of my faith-filled people listening to this, you can forgive and still love at a distance. I know I've said this before. You do not have to be best friends with everyone. You do not need everyone in your life. Some people are toxic to you and for you. And so, you know, go through your hurt, you know, of how this person kind of betrayed you, hurt you, disappointed you. It's okay to feel that. Come to your point of forgiveness, and that amount of time is different for everyone. Everyone has like kind of different processes and stages of getting there, but get to a place of forgiveness where, you know, if you pass them on the street, you would just be like, hey, and like just keep walking. I've had to do that plenty of times in my life, even if it was not reciprocated, but that's okay. I was still being the bigger person, and I knew that I had come to a good place and I was doing what I was supposed to do. Okay, sorry. But no, like for real, like, you know, come to a place of forgiveness, but that doesn't mean you gotta let them back in. They still can be over here. Over there. All the way over there. Distance. Distance is good. Distance is really good sometimes. I'm just stating a fact. But yeah, so distance is okay. Forgiveness is necessary, but distance is probably also necessary. And after a time where you've allowed yourself to be upset, move on. And, you know, that kind of comes, I think, with like the forgiveness of that person. It's like, don't let them or their decision like hurt your energy. Like, don't let whatever they say to you kind of like knock down like what you're trying to do. Like, I don't know what you guys do for like a living and stuff, but my like career right now is based off of connections, and I value how people perceive me, not only like as a person, my personal reputation, but also like my reputation as like a creative. Those things are very important to me and sacred to me. And, I can't let like one person making a comment about like my photos not being good enough for them stop me from doing what I'm doing. I can't let that happen, because the minute I let that creep in, then I let everything else creep in, and then you are paralyzed in doubt and not believing in yourself, and then you are stuck in a place where you can't move forward as an individual in your business or your endeavors because of something somebody said. And that will not happen over here in Big Nikki's house. I'm just saying that right now. So, just bad vibes, get off of me. Ariana Victoria said it best. Just bad vibes, get off of me. Out of here with it. Like, don't let that stuff sit on you and, seep into your skin. It can happen quicker than you think. And again, you're allowed to kind of soak those things in for a little bit and like deal with it and rationalize through it. But then like they gotta go, because we ain't letting no one out here like, just start stuff with you and like then they're trying to mess you up. No. They can't mess you up. That's not gonna happen. Just because they switch up doesn't mean you gotta get messed up. Guys, this podcast is so full of quotable material. Oh my goodness, look at me coming with the fire. I feel like I haven't done this in weeks, guys. It kind of has been weeks. Like I filmed the one podcast and then like I did the one with Bill and then I like didn't film one last week, and it's just like I'm back. I am back. Like don't mess with Big Nikki. That's why it's like sometimes you really just need a week off. Like you just take a week off and then you just come back and you're like, I told y'all I stewed and I brewed in this. For my coffee and my tea lovers out there, I stewed and brewed and I came up with some fire quotes. But a quote, just to kind of wrap this whole shebang up, is I was actually waiting for my camera battery to charge. I had this like all set up and my camera battery was just like, nope, I'm gonna die like as soon as you put me in. I was like, okay, cool. So I was waiting for that to charge, and so I was on Instagram, and on someone's story that I follow, they had kind of like this story about this guy who, and you guys have probably read this before, I think I had even seen it, but I was like, wow, this is like really applicable to like, is it applicable or applicable? I think it's applicable. I can't speak, it's okay. Applicable to this topic today, about this guy like saving a snake out of a fire, and basically after the snake bit him, he got it out of the fire again, and someone was like, why would you like save the snake? Like it just bit you and like caused you pain, like why would you save its life? And basically the point of that whole little story was, do not lose your good heart, only learn to take precautions. So basically just because the guy was like, the snake's nature is to bite me, but my nature is to help and be helpful. So don't, lose yourself just because somebody wrongs you or hurts you or causes you pain or switches up on you. I saw this and I was like, oh God, what good timing. But you gotta learn to take precautions. See, and there again, that's just what we were talking about. Like, you don't need to beg people to stay in your life. You don't necessarily have to be naive and be like, oh no, I forgive you. Like, yeah, come back into my life. And then, you're gonna hurt me and do that to me again. And then leave. And then, oh no, you can come back. No. So take precautions to protect your good heart. But don't let pain and people switching up on you change your good heart. Okay? That's words from, I don't know who that story was from, or I would quote them, but the rest of the words were from me, Big Nikki. So if you want to quote me, you should do so. Post it to your IGs or something. Yeah. Guys, we're on literally every flippin' podcast streaming service known to man. Okay, that might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but all the big ones. We're on iTunes, we're on Google, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, of course, if you are watching this. So please give me good reviews, subscribe if you don't, follow me. I don't even really know how these things work sometimes. Give me a thumbs up, send me a comment, post on your IG and tag me. I don't know. Just do the dang thing, and share this with your friends, your family. I would love feedback from you guys, and if you're listening, or you've been listening, I appreciate you. If you're new, welcome, and thank you for making it to the end of the episode. Appreciate you for that, and I hope you come back for next week's episode. I promise, guys, we're gonna get this set together. I'm just trying to figure out what to do with it. I think I'm gonna have a TV behind me with my logo on it, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll work it out. We'll get it looking real nice for you. Just like I said, upgrades, biggers and betters. Upgrades, bigger and better. There we go. Okay, I can't talk anymore, so I'm gonna go. But thank you guys again for listening, and I will see you guys again next week. Stay safe and healthy out there. Wear a mask. Yes, all the Karens out there, that is for you as well. Wear a dang mask. All right, guys, that's my PSA. But seriously, love you guys. Appreciate you. I'll see you next week.